Life can be a rough journey, and everyone could use some practical advice to navigate its twists and turns. Let's talk about some timeless wisdom found in stories like Pinocchio, classic myths, fairy tales, and philosophical works that offer a balance between order and chaos, security and adventure. These stories resonate because they provide universal values that give our lives meaning. Inspired by these themes, Jordan B. Peterson has crafted 12 rules to help people manage today's chaotic times. Here are a few insights from his work. 1. Stand tall with confidence. You've heard of the pecking order, right? It originated from studies of barnyard chickens by Norwegian zoologist Thorleif Skjelderup in the 1920s. He observed a clear hierarchy where the strongest chickens ate first, and the weakest, with their feathers falling out, got the leftovers. This hierarchy isn't unique to chickens, it's a common feature in the animal kingdom, including lobsters. Lobsters fight for the best shelter, and the winners have higher serotonin levels, which make them more upright and confident, while the losers have more octopamine, making them tense and curled up. Humans also have hierarchies, and our mental states can influence our physical posture. Studies show that those struggling with alcoholism or depression are less likely to compete, reinforcing their inactivity and low self-esteem. In contrast, people on a winning streak exude confidence, which helps them continue winning. Thus, holding your head high and adopting a confident posture can give you an advantage in life. 2. Care for yourself like you would a loved one. If your pet was sick, you'd follow the vet's advice and give it the prescribed medication. But many people ignore their doctor's prescriptions for themselves. This often stems from self-loathing and a feeling of unworthiness. The story of Adam and Eve reflects this self-consciousness, suggesting humans are forever flawed due to their disobedience. However, this story can also be interpreted to mean the world is inherently a mix of order and chaos. The yin-yang symbol in Eastern philosophy represents this balance. Trying to eliminate chaos completely leads to tyranny. Instead, find a balance and do what's best for you, even if it isn't always what makes you happy. As a child, you didn't want to brush your teeth, but it was necessary. As an adult, set goals that define who you are and take steps to achieve them, caring for yourself with the same tenderness you would a loved one. ####3. Choose friends who lift you up. The author shares a story of a childhood friend who never left their small town and fell into bad company, leading to a life of resentment and wasted potential. In contrast, when the author went to college, he joined a group of like-minded individuals who supported each other, leading to many accomplishments. In any setting, the wrong companions can drag you down. Studies show that a team with one underachiever can have its performance lowered by the bad habits spreading from that one individual. Therefore, surround yourself with supportive friends who encourage positive change. Good friends don't let you wallow in negativity, they help you get back on track and support your success. 4. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to others today. The internet has made it so there's always someone better than you at something. While self-criticism is important for motivation and improvement, it can become harmful when you compare yourself to others. This leads to black and white thinking and a distorted view of your progress. Instead, judge yourself against your past achievements. This approach helps you see incremental improvements and keeps you motivated. Think of yourself as a home inspector, examining all areas of your life and identifying what needs fixing. This way, you're too focused on your growth to worry about how you measure up to others. These rules, inspired by timeless wisdom, can help you navigate the complexities of modern life with more confidence, self-care, supportive relationships, and a healthier perspective on personal growth. Raising a responsible and kind child is a parent's duty. When you see parents ignoring a misbehaving child, you might wonder if they're bad parents or just letting the child tire out. Child-rearing approaches have evolved, influenced by the nature versus nurture debate and ideas about our instincts. In the 18th century, philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau believed our prehistoric ancestors were gentle and innocent, corrupted by civilization. Today, we understand that people are born with aggressive instincts and must learn to become kind and civilized adults. Think about how kids can be brutal on a playground compared to the relative calm of most workplaces. It's up to parents to guide their naturally aggressive children into becoming well-adjusted adults. Raising a responsible and kind child. Parents need to be more than friends, they need to raise responsible and likable human beings. This isn't easy because no one likes being the bad guy. Children naturally push boundaries to learn where society's lines are drawn. Parents must be firm and decisive in setting these boundaries. If kids don't learn these lessons from loving parents, they'll learn them later in less kind ways. Here are 3 key methods for good parenting. 1. Limit the rules. Too many rules frustrate kids. Stick to a few basic principles like, don't bite, kick, or hit unless in self-defense. 2. Use minimum necessary force. Discipline should be fair and clear. The punishment should fit the crime, and sometimes a disappointed look is enough, other times, a week without video games might be necessary. 3. Present a united front. Kids are clever and will try to play one parent against the other. A unified front is crucial. With a supportive partner, you're more likely to catch and correct mistakes. Taking responsibility for your life. Life is full of challenges and suffering, but this isn't cause for despair. Some, like the Russian author Leo Tolstoy, have seen life as so cruel that drastic responses seem justified. In his essay, A Confession, Tolstoy suggested that childlike ignorance, hedonistic pleasure, suicide, or struggling on despite it all were valid responses to life's absurdity. He concluded that suicide was the most honest response, while struggling on showed weakness. Some people have responded to life's cruelty with murder-suicides, as seen in tragic events like the Sandy Hook or Columbine school shootings. But despite this bleak view, blaming the world for your suffering isn't the answer. The 6th rule for life is to take responsibility for your own life before judging the world. Russian writer Alexander Solzhenitsyn rejected life's cruelty, even while enduring it. He was imprisoned by his own state after World War II and diagnosed with cancer while in a gulag. Despite this, he didn't blame the world. He took responsibility for supporting the Communist Party that imprisoned him and used his remaining time to contribute something meaningful. He wrote The Gulag Archipelago, which exposed the Soviet camps and helped diminish support for Stalin's communism. Seeking meaning over immediate pleasure. Consider the story of the monkey with its hand caught in a cookie jar. The monkey gets trapped because it refuses to let go of the cookie. This story highlights the price of greed. Many people pursue immediate pleasures that aren't in their best interests and avoid making sacrifices that are. Seeing the world as a pit of despair can justify a life based on immediate pleasures. But sacrifice can bring better things in the future. Ancient tribes sacrificed food for winter or to help those who couldn't hunt or farm. This idea is prevalent in the Bible, where suffering in life is seen as the sacrifice for the joys of the afterlife. Rule 7 is to seek meaningful goals over instant gratification. This isn't just about sacrificing for personal gain, it's about making sacrifices for the greater good. The bigger the sacrifice, the more rewarding it can be. Think of the lotus flower, which starts at the bottom of a lake and gradually rises to blossom in the sun. Stick with your goals and be ready to make sacrifices to achieve them. Striving toward truthful living. German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche believed that a person's spirit is measured by how much undiluted truth they can tolerate. Despite valuing truth, we often lie to ourselves and others to get what we think we want. Austrian psychologist Alfred Adler called these life lies. They're the things we do and say to turn poorly thought out goals into reality. For example, you might dream of retiring on a beach in Mexico with unlimited margaritas. This goal can be so appealing that you ignore obstacles and fool yourself into thinking it's possible. Even if you develop allergies to the sun, sand, and booze, you might still cling to this unrealistic plan. These delusions often come with the belief that we know everything we need to know, which shuts off our desire to learn and grow. Worse things happen when living a life lie and denying the truth. In John Milton's Paradise Lost, Lucifer is a reasonable character who becomes too proud and challenges God, leading to his fall. Rule 8 is to stop lying and be truthful. You don't have to give up your ambitious goals, but be flexible and realistic. As your understanding and worldview change, so should your goals. If your life is off track, challenge the current truth you're following and reaffirm your personal truth to get back on the right path. In summary, raising kind and responsible children, taking responsibility for your life, seeking meaningful goals, and striving for truthful living are crucial for navigating life's challenges. These rules, inspired by timeless wisdom, can help you lead a more fulfilling and balanced life. Conversations are an opportunity to learn and grow, not compete. Thousands of years after his death, Socrates is still considered one of the wisest men who ever lived. His wisdom came from his belief that the only thing he knew for sure was that he knew nothing. This mindset drove his openness to learning and his approach to conversations. When you engage in a genuine conversation, it's similar to thinking things over in your mind, exploring both sides of an issue. This internal dialogue helps you remain objective and come to a balanced conclusion. Conversations with others serve a similar purpose, allowing you to present and consider multiple perspectives more easily. However, not all conversations are productive. Often, people treat dialogues as competitions, aiming to win rather than to understand. This mindset leads to dismissing what the other person says and focusing solely on formulating a rebuttal. The 9th rule, therefore, is to listen to others as if you have something to learn from them. A simple tip for being a better conversationalist is to listen and then summarize or recap out loud what the other person just said. This helps ensure you've understood correctly, helps the information stick in your memory, and reduces the likelihood of distorting or oversimplifying details to suit your side of the conversation. Sometimes the truth hurts, and it's painful to take in information that means you have to change your ideas and preconceptions. But this is the price you pay as part of the beautiful process of learning and growing. The complexity of life should be confronted with clear and precise language. Life is an enormous and complicated tapestry, but we tend only to see the isolated parts we need to see. For example, when you see an apple on the ground, you probably don't think of the branch, tree, roots, and soil that were all connected before it fell. We focus on what's useful or what stands in our way. The apple catches our attention because it represents food, but we don't consider the tree and the soil because they don't satisfy our immediate needs. We can't think of everything all the time because the world is too complex. So, the mind simplifies things to make it easier for us to get on with our lives. However, sometimes something can happen that shatters our conception of the world and makes things seem chaotic. This is why Rule 10 is extremely important: use precise language. Think of the word car. You know what a car is, right? It's a vehicle that gets you from point A to point B. But when it breaks down, do you know precisely how it works? Can you fix it? When your car breaks down, it can make you feel primal urges to curse and kick it because it's no longer a simple thing. To recover, you must re-establish order by clearly and precisely explaining what went wrong. The same thing happens when your body breaks down and you get sick. There could be many problems, so you need to tell your doctor your precise symptoms. By being precise, you can restore order and take steps to feel better. Precise language can also make your relationships run more smoothly. If your partner does something that bugs you, like not cleaning up after themselves. The sooner you're honest and precise with them, the easier life will be. There are bad and oppressive men, but we must avoid suppressing human nature. In George Orwell's The Road to Wigan Pier, Orwell concluded that socialism in England was attracting defenders not because of sympathy for miners' harsh conditions but out of hatred for the rich and powerful. Today, there are similar attitudes toward the male-dominated leadership known as the patriarchy. One influential source of this hatred is Max Horkheimer of the Marxism-based Frankfurt School, a proponent of critical theory. He believed education and intellectualism should focus on social change, aiming to combat and destroy powerful oppressors in a culture, namely, ruling males. In humanities courses around the world today, the recommended political action is dismantling macho culture. Everything is about destroying rather than fixing or creating, leading to outrage directed at male behavior that can be excessively harsh and short-sighted. For example, many male students are regularly confronted with hostile accusations of being part of the patriarchy. The path of righteous change shouldn't involve treating every man as a potential sex offender. While it's true that many men have behaved deplorably, men have also used their naturally aggressive attitudes for good, like engaging in healthy competition, exploring dangerous areas, and making much-needed progress. This brings us to Rule 11. Don't bother young people skateboarding. Outside some of the buildings on the University of Toronto campus, amazing skateboarders showed off admirable fearlessness and a willingness to embrace danger. But city officials decided to prohibit skateboarding on the campus. We can't establish rules that go against the very nature of who we are as people. Our rules should protect us but shouldn't suppress the good qualities in people. We've seen a good fictionalized account of what can happen when men are stripped of their masculinity. Fight Club shows us how aggression can become a forbidden fruit that manifests in fascist tendencies. Another real-world reaction to emasculation is the current resurgence of right-wing politics. The truth is, women don't want boys to grow up without a chance to learn things for themselves and be independent. Every boy has a mom, and what kind of mom would want to care for a dependent man-child? #### Life is hard and full of sorrow, so it's important to celebrate the small joys in life. Have you ever had to care for a sick person? It can be one of life's more difficult challenges. The author's daughter has been coping with severe arthritis since she was 6 years old. She has suffered from constant pain, requiring frequent injections and multiple surgeries for joint replacements. If you had a daughter in this situation, you might think life is unfair. But it's important to recognize that the dark bits of pain, suffering, and sorrow give the good moments their value. Consider Superman. When the character was first introduced, he was hugely popular. But then, the comic book writers kept giving him more powers until he was virtually invincible. Naturally, readers started finding him boring. If there is no risk of danger, Superman's victories are hollow. In the same way, good moments would be meaningless if we didn't have to fight through difficulties and suffering to reach them. This is why it's important to follow Rule 12, make the best out of even the smallest joys that life offers. By following this rule, you'll embrace life and appreciate every good thing that comes your way. You'll also be sure to see yourself through the tough times, even when they're prolonged. After years of pain and discomfort, the author's daughter eventually found a new physiotherapist who helped her gain greater mobility, a fair amount of normality, and a lot less pain. There may be further complications down the road, but they're both happy to enjoy the improvements for as long as they last. This is the best attitude to have. It's the kind that makes you stop and pet a cat when you cross one on the sidewalk. Remember, there is no day without the darkness of night, just as there's no order without chaos. There is suffering in life, but it's also what gives meaning to our perseverance and makes the moments of peace so rewarding. #### Final summary. Navigating through life is a constant struggle filled with trials and tribulations, and if there's any guarantee in life, it's that more troubles are likely around the corner. But there is also beauty and joy to be found, however fleeting these moments may be. All you can do is try your best, be honest and truthful, and avoid being selfish and prideful. It's also important to take responsibility for your own lot in life, not blaming the world or others for your shortcomings. Ultimately, only you can improve your life. Thank you friends, this was 12 Rules for Life book summary. I hope you will learn a lot from this book or note down a lot of important points so that you can live a better life if you note down all these things. If you have forgotten, then sit back comfortably with paper and pen or watch the video once again or understand each and every point very carefully which has been said. One point can be very life-changing for you. How did you like this book summary? Please let us know in the comments. Thank you so much.